The romance, I can tell just how good it is. It is not vanilla. 5 out of 5 stars, such a great read. But honestly, Heart, I love you, but you're making me kind of want to hate you at this point. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Sefa, and today I'm going to be doing another reading vlog because it's fun and I have some time off, and I really just wanted to clear this out of my physical TBR. So I'm going to read The Last Magician trilogy fantasy series by Lisa Maxwell. Let me tell you, I've been hoarding these books for about a year, and I haven't touched a single page of either of them. And so today I felt like, you know what, it's about time to crush these out of the way so I can actually start the other books I just got. If you checked out my recent shopping vlog, you would have known that I've actually gotten quite a good number of books recently. So I want to smash these, get them out of the way. Hopefully I'll really like them because I know they're a really good underrated fantasy series. I've heard like really good things about it because it's heist related, there's a bit of romance, it's like historical fiction, urban fantasy, like all these really good things that I would really like in it. And I'm just really excited to start. If you just want like a visual aesthetic of what the series entails, let me just show you. This little vision board that I have accumulated here is basically what it is in a nutshell. And Peaky Blinders is like my inspiration for it. It is a really great show if you want to follow something that's similar to this. Highly recommend. So just to remind you that this will be a spoiler-filled vlog, just to keep that in mind. And yeah, let's just keep going. Okay, update. I read about 100 pages of The Last Magician. Guys, it is so good so far. Honestly, I think this might be on track to be a 5-star, if I'm being quite honest. Just by 100 pages, so much has already happened, and the plot's already set right in motion. So if you're looking for a YA, like urban fantasy novel, that's something that hooks you right off the bat and just starts going into like the main plot, like as it just starts, read this. This is actually really, really good. The romance, I can tell just how good it is. It is not vanilla. I'm not saying it's explicit because it is YA, but it is like really good considering the category. But then again, I've only read 100 pages. I don't know any much else, but I'll keep updating you about that. But honestly, so good. I love the characters so far. Esta, and then we have Darrigan, also he's called Heart or Dare. And I can see he's the last magician. Clearly, it's quite obvious based on how foreshadowing works, but I can see the relationship between them develop. And I don't know, I just love that whole vibe. The theme is so good. Okay, I'm gonna keep updating you as we go along. Okay, I just landed on part 3 of the book, and honestly, it's going really good so far. Usually when I read a lot of these like YA fantasy books with like a tiny bit of romance, I usually find that I'm not usually very connected to the characters and I don't really like them that much. Maybe like 1 or 2 I like, but it's nothing like I'm like super invested into them. But like this book, all the characters, Dolph, Darrigan, Esta, like Nibs, I love Nibs. He's so cool. Like all of them, they're so good. And they're so unique in their own way. And I just love the whole aesthetic of like the 1900s, you know, like old age, vintage of New York. And it's like on the cusp of like mafia-esque being, and there's magic. And then there's like also romance between Darrigan and Esta, which is amazing. It's slow burn definitely, but literally in the best way possible. It is so good so far. And I honestly can't wait to finish this. I'm honestly thinking this might be a 5-star because I haven't felt this way about a book, especially a YA fantasy book with a bit of romance, in a long time. I think the last one I read was A Court of Silver Flames, and that was literally like 7-8 months ago when I read something that profound. So I can't wait to continue. I think the next time I'll update will probably be when I finish the book, but you know what, we'll see. When we cross that bridge, we'll get there. Okay, yeah, let's just continue. gosh, this is okay. I am back and have officially finished The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. Honestly, such a good read. Really, really, really good read. Probably one of my favorites this year. It's such an underrated like fantasy story, and it's so good. Like there's so many unique characters. The really great thing about this, I think most people would like, is that it's not tropey at all. Like typical YA fantasy stories you would see have a lot of these like chosen one, love triangle, or like I don't know, destiny type trope things that are really intertwined and like really lead the plot in a certain way. But this one's very unpredictable at times because it doesn't follow those kinds of tropes. Honestly, I love the dynamic between the characters. I thought I liked some characters, but after finishing it, I changed my mind. Because, some people got, they're off with their head, they kicked the bucket, they're gone, and I'm sad. A lot of revelations were revealed that literally changed everything. Honestly, I rated this 4.5 out of 5 stars because I didn't really get that gut feeling I usually get, that it was like, wow, this is a favorite for me. And also the ending of this book was quite chaotic considering how much was revealed and how many things in terms of plot twists were going on. It was just chaotic, but overall really, really solid. And I really do like where this series is heading when it's going to start in The Devil's Thief, book 2. And I can't wait to start it. So overall, I love Esta. She's like definitely my favorite character in the book. I love how, smart she is, and she's very quick on her feet. She knows like what she's doing. She's very reliable in a sense, but she's also very unpredictable. I don't know how to describe her, but she's really a likable character for sure. Is she one of my favorites? She might be. I think I have to continue with the series just to see more of like her and her dynamic with the other characters. But nonetheless, really, really excited. Let's just start The Devil's Thief. Also, this book is like, I didn't realize, almost 700 pages. This guy over here was like 5. This is 700. Wish me luck. I'm gonna need it. And here we go. Update on The Devil's Thief by Lisa Maxwell. I'm like a little more than halfway through the book. Quite disappointing so far because, guys, I'm 400 pages in and we have yet to see a really great romance moment. Okay, I mean, let's be real. There has been a couple of good romance moments, but like it's so slow burn. Like it's almost excruciatingly painful to watch this romance play out. And I love these characters. I love Esta and Darrigan. They're definitely my favorite two of the book. But the problem is that coming from the first book and going into this one, there is like little to no character development within 400 pages. Like that's outrageous to me. Like I get that, a lot has happened since the first book, majorly changing things to the character, especially Darrigan, and like is messing with him at this point, and his relationship with Esta is also at risk. But like, come on, like really, I'm just disappointed. Like I wanted to see more of their relationship play out in this, but it's like super, it's not angsty. I mean, it is, but like, it's painful to watch them at times because they're always thinking about each other, even though on the outside it doesn't look like it. But nothing ever happens because they both pull away last minute. Like, please tell me how that happens. But that's not the biggest issue I have with this. The biggest issue is that the synopsis and like the ending of the first book really emphasized that this whole book was going to be about finding the None of that has really happened so far within 400 pages, and there's only 700 pages in this book. So I hope this isn't going to be some like horrible chaotic ending. But right now, my rating for this is nowhere near 5 stars. I don't even think it's nowhere near 4 stars, to be quite honest. But where it's like it's starting to pick up right now, which is getting better. It's a really big mess. Honestly, I hope it picks up better in the end. Like I said, it's understandable considering why it's dragging out so much, just because there's so many different perspectives at play. But it's easy to follow, which is something I'm fine with. But like still, like this is getting messy. I just hope it cleans up in the end. Or else the last book, The Serpents Curse, it's going to be painful for me to read. Oh, well, wish me luck. I'll update you when I finish this. I finished it. This is completed. My general thoughts, I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. This one was a lot different than the first one. I don't know. It just didn't hit the same for me. There was issues with the pacing, and I felt like things were just dragged out a bit too long. But the thing is that I liked that the chapters were relatively short. But the problem with that is that I feel like she broke it up too fast or too frequently, because there's so many perspectives and so many things going on that it gets a little chaotic at times. And I felt like it would have just picked up the book a bit more. But I guess like the whole issue with it is that there's a lot of timing that needs to be really worked out in this, because everything is really situated at a certain time. And like there's so many events going on, it's crazy. But I was hoping to see a better romance develop between Hart and Esta. I mean, to some extent, yes. But for the most part, I felt like it got worse. Please tell me it gets better in the third book, because I just want to see the relationship play out in a good way, because I felt like it was regressed at that point. Another issue was that there was like barely any character development in this. But I guess because it's very plot driven in the story, maybe that's why. But honestly, I feel like in the third book, it's going to address a lot of them, because hopefully those issues will get resolved in time before the fourth one. But you know, there's still so many things. But the problem is with what I was also really confused with this book is that this whole essence of time traveling is that when they move back into the past, the artifacts they collected in the future and they bring it back into the past, like disappear because they relocate to where they should have been in the past time. So when Esta and Hart go to venture in the future to look for these artifacts, it didn't make sense to me why they're looking for them in that time when they would just disappear again in the past. Like, unless they're trying to solve all the issues in the future, that's one thing, but I don't think that's how it's going to play out. So I think another thing is that I'm just confused, but it's fine. I'm hoping this gets better. Yeah, that's about it. Let's just start this book then. I guess now's a good time to kind of update where I'm at in this. It is so much better than the double sleeve. Like way, way, way better. I'm almost done. I have 200 pages left. I could literally finish it today. I probably will, knowing the pace that I'm reading. Hart and Esta came back again. Some issues happened. I don't know if they'll get resolved, but honestly, Hart, I love you. But you're making me kind of want to hate you at this point because of what you're doing to Esta. And I know it's for her sake. And we know you're trying to do this all for her. But like, just live for a moment, please. And then we can discuss what happens consequences-wise later on. A lot of things happened. That thing with Sammy broke my heart.
Emotional, damn it!
But honestly, this might be a 5-star read. I'm being dead serious. It's pretty much better than the first book. I'm on track to feel like it's a 5-star. I can feel that kind of connection with this book. I love the characters. Honestly, Esta and Hart are probably my new 2 favorite female and male characters. I know I love them, and I'm sure you will too. So please, 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 let's continue. I finished The Serpents Curse. It was such an enjoyable read. 800 pages. I mean, it's like 740, but like 800 pages, it's a lot. But it was so worth it. I really, really love the series now. It is definitely one of like the best underrated fantasy series I've seen in a long time. But then again, I typically read more of the popular ones anyway. So I think this is a good introduction, or like a recommendation I would give for someone who wants to read something that is not mainstream, you know? But other than that, 5 out of 5 stars, such a great read. Compared to the first book, I gave it a higher rating just because there was more going on. But then again, it's hard to compare because they're very different timeline-wise and like what's obviously going on in the books. But obviously this book is so much better than the second one. The second one, like I said, lacked a lot of plot progression and things were just not really happening. It was just more like a filler book, if I had to describe it, because there was things going on, but it wasn't making like significant progressions in terms of reaching their goals. But this changed all of it. You saw so much more character development, especially in Hart and Esta, but it definitely highlighted some key figures at the time in terms of JP Morgan, you know, John Torrio and Al Capone. I didn't know John Torrio was like an actual character, but Al Capone is in this, just briefly, but it is really interesting like that. And this one also does such a great job of also implicating the, you know, the detrimental effects of racism that are inflicted upon like Black people and people of color in general, that I think is very important that she did highlight in this book, because there are people who are like characters in this book, like Celia. Viola is kind of like mixed, but she is also inflicted in that kind of category, and also her brother Abel. They all kind of face, oh, and Shan Yu as well, because he is Asian as well. And they all kind of have the similar trauma of like how people perceive them in the world and how that really affects their lifestyle and day-to-day lives. And I really liked how Lisa definitely explored that. It was really, really well done. But honestly, seeing North and Maggie together, that was like so good. How does their relationship progress more than Hart and Esta? The one thing I wish Lisa did a bit better was kind of upgrade this maybe more into like the upper end of YA, maybe new adult, because when she discusses things like relationships and like intimacy between characters, it's very vague and not descriptive at all. And I'm not saying it, you need to go in depth in these scenes and everything, but I feel like when she talks about things like pregnancy, you know, she just kind of like dances around the idea, and she said it's the complications of it, or like the consequences. Like, just say it what it is. Like, we know that's a consequence of it, but like, I don't get why you're dancing around this idea. I just wish she'd be a bit more upfront of what she's saying. That's like the minute thing I could find wrong with this book. Other than that, yeah, it was such a solid read. So that basically concludes my little reading vlog / spiel of the Last Magician series. Again, highly, highly recommend this. Such an underrated YA fantasy series. I would say this is particularly tailored to people who really enjoy plot-driven stories in particular. I'm gonna tell you, character development, like typical as you would see, doesn't happen much really until the last book, which is the Serpents Curse. And I know that's a long way to come, but honestly, I feel like you will fall in love with these characters, the type of story it is, and like just the general atmosphere of things being historical fiction with a bit of majesty, magic and everything. And it's just the uniqueness of their characters, the way she explores, I guess, racism and definitely people of color is well represented in this book. Another thing that I really, really loved is the slow burn nature of the romance. I like that it was slow. Sometimes it could be a little excruciatingly slow, but you know, it's well worth it in the end. Although this is not the last book, there's still one more book left, and that comes out like late December, but you know what? I'm gonna wait for it. I'm gonna preface that the first and the last book are the best in the series, easily, hands down. The second book is, like I said, a filler book, in my opinion, because there's a lot of running around and not much going on or like done to complete their goals, if that kind of makes sense. That's like a big problem because I feel like it's just dragging on too long. It's almost 700 pages. So I'm telling you, just trust me, get through this book. Read it on audiobook, ebook, whatever method you do to read faster, do that, because the third book is so worth it, I'm telling you. This could definitely, in my opinion, be bumped up to new adult if she just like described things more explicitly, but then again, for the YA category, it's really, really well done. Oh yeah, another huge thing about the series is that it is not tropey at all. Like, obviously there is some like tiny tropes here and there that are typically used, like I don't know if slow burn romance is a trope, but like time travel, like simple things like that. Okay, yeah, that's kind of it. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a long time coming. It took me, I swear, about a month to get through this, but then again, it's like 2,000 pages in total, and I'm so glad I got through this. Well worth the money, well worth the wait. Such a great underrated fantasy series, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in whatever video I post next time.